Welcome to Teddi Talks, the podcast where we have open, revealing conversations about being female, being healthy, wealthy, and wise throughout generations. I'm your host, Teddi-Jann Covell.
And I'm your co-host, Nichole LaRochelle.
In each episode, you will get to hear real stories that shaped us. We will be vulnerable and honest. It's girl talk, talking about things that few women talk about but want to know. You will learn, laugh, cry, and maybe even get angry. But Nikki and I have your back. We support you.
Yes, we do.
This is a place for support and enlightenment, and our mission is that you will find your own positive voice throughout our stories. Sit back, relax, join us on this incredible journey of growth, resilience, and empowerment. Hello, beautiful gems.
Hello, beautiful gems.
This is Teddi-Jann Covell.
And I'm Nikki Lynn.
Nikki Lynn. I'm many things. Artist, social marketer, course businesswoman, and a podcaster.
And a friend.
And a friend.
And I'm Nikki Lynn. I'm the owner of Nwellnesslounge, registered nurse, also an artist, and a friend. So first of all, I want to dive in, Teddi, and say, you look fabulous.
Can everybody see merch. This?
RNN Wellness Lounge merch looks absolutely fabulous.
I love the phoenix.
The phoenix, the rising phoenix, the pearls.
Here we go.
The crown. So that logo took a lot of drafts.
Pink is my jam.
Pink
Along
it
with
looks
purple.
Good on you. It took a lot of drafts, but ultimately the pearl is our logo, as our mission at RNN Wellness Lounge, where you're unique, you're rare, you're beautiful. There's no two pearls that are alike, and they're all valuable.
And that's why we say hello, beautiful gems, to start with every day, every podcast.
The phoenix is, rising out of the ash, becoming your best self. And then the crown is because, at RNN Wellness Lounge, we really believe in holding and lifting each other's crowns up and collaborating, not competing, and changing the industry and the culture to really support one another and support other businesses, which is why I also... It's funny, Teddi, because we never coordinate our outfits. We never talk about it ahead of time, but we always seem to be kind of on point. So today I'm wearing local sweatshirt.
And the A is the state of Maine.
The state of Maine. And it is for 3 Moon Studio and Photo Company, LLC. So she's another small business, woman-owned business. She actually does our branding, photography. She's a really, really, really beautiful, kind lady, single mother. So I'll tag her in when I post this online so you can find her.
So that's why we call you beautiful gems, because we want to make you all shine and appreciate, inspire, kind of like polish up what's inside of each and every one of us.
Well, you know that the pearl, you know how pearl is made.
Yes.
Yes, and an oyster.
Right.
But do you know how the pearl?
My mom's pearls.
I don't have pearls on, but you know how the pearl comes about?
Yes, it's sediment that gets
inside of the oyster. And what happens is it's basically this oyster, you're not supposed to have sand or sediment or a foreign body. And so what happens is the oyster says there's this foreign body, and it starts to wrap it so it doesn't damage the inside of the oyster and the mussel. So it starts wrapping it over and over, layer and layer and layer and layer. It wraps this foreign body that's inside of it. And then it actually turns, and it takes years to create a pearl. And it's kind of the same, the reason that we have, I feel so passionate about our pearl as our mission is that we as people have had grit, sand, rough times, whatever it is inside of us, and we start wrapping it. We start wrapping it with self-love, start wrapping it with friendships, wrapping it with healing. And the more that we wrap it, the more that we create this pearl and this beautiful gem inside of us.
And that brings us into our friendship part with Mel Robbins' his book, Let Them. It's the Let Them theory, but it is at some point during different phases of our lives, we're like, where are our friends? What happened? What? How long does it take to make a good friend? Oh. Well, let me just scientifically, it takes really at least a year. That's so, I mean, when you're talking about making a pearl and it takes years, sometimes it does take years to make good friends. But when we talk about friendship, and, here we are in Maine, we're talking about, it's winter, it's easing into March, which is typically dreadful the first part of March and then decent at the end. But
it's mud season.
It's mud season, and the thing is people can say, jeepers, where did my friends go after a long winter?
Florida. That's where they all go.
Yeah, some people do.
They all go to Florida, Teddi.
I do not, because I love winter in Maine. I like the ice. I like the snow. But did you know that when we're younger, or kids, how we start making friends? I mean...
Well, I mean, for me, making a friend when I was younger is the people that were around me. I mean, because very small group of people. Yeah.
School. It's
school or religious function.
Correct.
Church.
Sunday school. But you're usually as a kid in a school.
Yeah.
And that is one of the pillars of having good friends is your proximity.
Okay. Do you talk to any of your childhood friends?
Yes.
Me too. So it's so funny how our childhood friends, I would define them as real friends in a way, because, I'm sure that you'll tell us the different tiers of friendship.
Right.
But when I just recently connected again with a childhood friend, and there was no time and space in between us.
No.
None.
When you're,
how are you doing?
Awesome.
What are you doing?
Right.
And it's just like, oh, I haven't seen you for multiple years. Hey, do you want to hang out? Yeah, let's hang out. Let's have some fun. Okay, having fun. Everything's good. It was like that emotional connection. There was no weirdness or oddness. It was just like, oh, hi.
Yeah, when you have history, it's easy to connect again. The other one of the pillars of friendship is timing. Like what time of your life. So as a kid growing up, so you got elementary school, you got high school, you got college or work experience. Whether you're a young mom, whether you're a grandmother, that's the timing part. And then the third pillar is energy. Okay. The energy that you put in or take out of a friendship. And those things are important. But since we're going to kind of start at the beginning of like, what is a friend? And you're starting...
You got a friend in me.
Not high school, but probably, really good buddies kind of started maybe late elementary or middle school, or back in my day it was called junior high. That's when we started
building friendships.
Yeah, you're in the same class, you're doing the same activities or after school.
And you're going to school 5 days a week.
So that brings up the other point.
Okay.
Is that you sometimes are with your friends more than your family. Mm-hmm. And that even pushes into work. when you've gone beyond schooling and you're at work, sometimes you see your work colleagues more. Now,
Sometimes you want to.
sometimes you don't want to be, but you're with them.
That's true.
You're with them.
Well, it depends. I mean, there's a mutual respect and mutual.
Well, you have to have decorum.
But I can say, so I left the bedside nursing with a group of people almost 2 years ago, and I went into private nursing. So with private nursing, your autonomy, it's just you. It's you and your patient, and there's not a team behind you, especially with private nursing. And I found that my friendships that were really, I thought were, you're in the, especially working in the emergency department, you're really bonded to people because you're going through some traumatic things together. You've got to save people's lives, and, you're really a team. And I found that what I thought was really strong friendship bonds are really just strong work bonds. Because there's multiple people, and even though, I still consider them friends, because if I called them up and said, hey, do you want to go to dinner? They probably will. But we don't make that energy connection anymore to purposefully spend time with each other.
And that is a choice. I can say some things about, as an air traffic controller, and just like being in the emergency room, you get to be very close in situations, working like around 9/11 and working, I was in the National Air Traffic Controllers Association, which is the union, and the government was trying to privatize air traffic control. So I was very close with some of the people nationally who were trying to advocate for air traffic controllers, being that it's national security. It's not something that Joe Blow's, air traffic van can come in and do when you're talking about national security and safety of the public. And I became very close with that group of individuals in Washington, D.C., and I'm still their friend. Do I check in with them often? No, but some of those relationships have transcended. Mm-hmm. And I do have to say...
Speaking of friend, let me help you out here.
What do I have hanging on my face?
Yeah, I don't know, but it's okay. We got it.
Okay. Well, what?
That's a true friend. If you don't tell me I have spinach in my teeth and you let me walk around with food in my teeth, we're not, are we really friends? Like, a true friend would be like, hey, let's...
Gonna help you and maybe make you not, something that's not making you look the
silly.
Best you could be.
Right?
You
don't...
Well, I had a crown first, the temporary crown put in a couple hours ago. So my face was, I went home and took a shower afterwards.
Great.
But I still feel like there's like glue coming.
Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah.
So what does Mel Robbins say about friendships?
Well, when you move past middle school or high school or college, people scatter. Mm-hmm. They just do. And that is the part of the proximity thing, that if you're not in the school, if you're not taking that English class with your bestie, that's understandable. And then people change.
Yeah.
They do change. You're not going to the same high school. And it's something that is a natural, okay thing to have happen. And people could get very sad and depressed about, I don't have any friends, right? But then, if you're a young mother, we're mothers, Nikki and I, But we...
You can say it. We're young mothers.
Yeah, I'm a...
Young mothers.
Let's just say I was an older young mother when I became a mom. I was 35, so
I was 25.
Right. I mean, they kept me in the hospital because at the time it was like, oh, you're an older mother. Let's keep her under. Yeah. Not that. I mean, the delivery was not. Let's just say it wasn't a routine situation. Mm-hmm. So that's why my son became. He was not breathing, so he's in the neonatal intensive care. Mm-hmm. Thank you to all the NICU nurses and doctors. Mm-hmm. I mean, oh my gosh. So, but I became friends with other parents, even though I was a lot older, just because my son went to Montessori because there was no pre-K at the time. Mm-hmm. I became friends with those people. And that's how the timing part comes in. You are naturally thrown into a group of people.
Right.
And once your kids are in school, because you're doing
the same thing, sports and showing up and band and going to all the Christmas concerts where if you're a parent, you understand.
And that's sometimes
and so you can share that with other parents, whether good, bad, indifferent, that you have that connection now because their children are doing the same thing your children are.
And then though, I have to say that social media has brought together some people that may not have been together ever, but you can find your old high school friends on there if they're on social media, which has helped. But here's the thing, like I purposefully now, don't have young kids, but I am a wife of a coach. So I joined Coaches' Wives social media group. I joined that group. And I feel like because I am a little bit wiser, have been through it a little bit longer than some of these women, they're young moms, they may have how many kids, and they never see their husbands. And they're like, oh my God, I don't, the family thing. And so if you're thrown into a situation where you're aghast and feel like you have no friends, like the coach's wife, just from my experience is what you do to gain friends is be a part of that new group that you're in.
Right.
I mean, yes, how many coaches' wives are there? Well, it depends upon the size of the school that your spouse might be working at. There are other coaches, spouses. That is one way to do it, but take part in those activities. Go to the games and you'll find out, maybe some of the moms of the kids you can be friends with.
So in the previous chapters of her book, do you remember when she had the group of friends that went out and they were having a great time and they were all doing their fun things and she was kind of upset that she wasn't invited? I recognize that myself because I now, as a business owner, also a single entrepreneur, and my nursing business, my nursing career is now individual. I find that there are times that I sit there and I'm like, the pity puddle, like nobody cares. Look at everyone having a good time. Oh, they went on a girls' trip. They didn't invite me. I have those moments, and then I think, I don't have time for that. I just want you to invite me. I don't actually have time to go.
Yeah. What are you
I just want you to
want
me.
Well, that's the thing. That's where the jealousy and anger part come into it, and then you have to step back and say, let them get their groups together.
Yeah.
But some of these friends, whether it's work or your neighborhood, and she, Mel Robbins in here says, we lived in a great neighborhood. Our across the street neighbors, sometimes we'd have barbecues together. And then all of a sudden, that same group was not her friend because maybe she moved a couple of streets away or to a different state. And they're still her friends, but she's not across the street from them anymore.
It's kind of like friendship of convenience.
Correct.
So, like, we'll invite you because you are part of our work friends. And we're not going to let you out. We don't dislike you. But once you get removed from that group, now it's kind of like, do you really want me involved?
Well, that's where you feel you have to kind of think about and analyze yourself because, Mel was really, she goes, I was just horrible. I would get snarky when I would see these people. It's like, who knows what the conversation I could see. Okay, so you and had this barbecue, or you guys went on this cruise together.
Hope it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Did you have fun without me?
Or maybe not that. It's like, well, I hope you didn't get seasick.
Like a side jab.
Right. And she admits she was horrible. Who hasn't done that, though?
But by doing that, so this is what I hear when she says this. So what she's saying is, my feelings were hurt. Right. And I feel like I'm not enough. And I feel like I don't belong. And I have all these negative self-talk, negative things. And you, by doing what you did, or that group that went out, what you did is fed me that what I say about myself is true.
Right.
So instead of saying, hey, is there something about me that, that this isn't okay? Did you not want me to hang out? Like, is there something? She just kind of went at attack mode. Like, rawr.
Well, because that's how you feel, angry at first.
Of course.
But here's how you stop that kind of a
cycle.
You validate your feelings. You say, whoa, I am hurt because of it. And acknowledge that whole pain thing.
Yeah.
Because women are very good at not validating or acknowledging themselves because we are nurturers. Nikki, have you ever had to go pee and you did not because you took care of, your child's need or do something for someone, especially as a nurse? Were you able to run to the bathroom even if you had to go and you were in the OR?
No.
There you go.
No, when I have had moments especially in the OR, but if you're in a trauma, your body kind of shuts itself down, so you don't really feel like you have to go. But I didn't.
That's your brain.
Yeah, I actually had to go. Sorry, I'm sorry, not sorry, but I had to go pee before I got here, and I bypassed the bathroom at Tim Hortons because I didn't want to be late to be here because I didn't want to be a disappointment and be late. So then you just sit here and you're like, and then I finally was like, no, gotta go.
Well, I gotta tell you, it's like one of the reasons that the old PATCO, Professional Air Traffic Controllers Association, is disbanded now, or people thought when they went on strike in the early 80s, they wanted more money. No, we did not. I came in right after that. Did not. They were fighting one of the biggest things, and I get teary-eyed about this, is because they were not allowed to take bathroom breaks for 8 hours, okay? Not allowed. You would have to suck it up. If you were working position on, for an hour, it's no way that somebody could come in and say, you're going to have to give them the briefing and you just had to suck it up. As a professional air traffic controller, you are not. But then we got negotiated so that, every 2 hours we need to
stand up and take a break.
You have to relieve me after 2 hours.
Yeah, okay.
It is now written into the thing. But when I first came in, oh no, sorry.
8 hours.
And by the way,
no bathroom break.
There is no bathroom in an air traffic control tower in the operating quarters. You have to go down a few flights to go to use the restroom. That's just the way it is. So it's not like you could say, taxi runway 33 and then unplug and run down.
But could you not be like, hey, I'm going to set you on, you're going to approach, excuse me, you're going to take off on taxi number 3 and I'm going to have you hold there for just a minute and then go to the bathroom? Like hold everybody. Like
you would
let
have
them take
to
off.
in the old days, but now no. Now there's people.
And then
up
I'm
there.
sitting on the plane panicking because I wonder why I'm sitting on this plane and we're not
doesn't
taking off, and
happen
it's just
now.
because Teddi-Jann had to go pee.
How dare
How dare she?
But the point is about validating. A woman is more apt
To let it go.
to put herself in a
Sacrificial.
second-rate position.
Yeah, for someone else.
And really, that is trauma. We don't understand, but not validating some things that we have pushed back inside for so many times, that is a traumatic thing. And women are more nurturing. It's science. Sorry, guys. And more apt to not validate
Themselves.
some real issues.
Yeah, and I can see
And
I can see the trauma. Especially if you have grown up being without a voice.
Correct.
So it's just the so you have been like, I really have to go to the I know that we're using bathroom, and but it's really kind of the most relatable thing everybody has to do. Everybody, whoever, doesn't matter who you are on this planet, there's no discrimination to going to the bathroom. Everybody does it.
But moms do it when they don't eat lunch because they're feeding their kids.
So did your children sit in your bathroom when you went to the bathroom?
Well, let's just face it. When you're a young mother and you need to take a shower, that little, what do you call it, carry thingy, is coming into the bathroom with
My
you.
daughter is almost 20 years old, and she will come to the bathroom door and be like, Mom. So, and I was like, time out. But we never, we don't make that a boundary because we're like, okay, what do you need? How can I meet your needs? And like, let's normalize shutting the door and telling your kids to sit down and wait because you have time that you need to have for yourself.
And it extends into friendships where, especially with our female friends, we are not good at boundaries. We just have, because we are women, we don't necessarily put those boundaries up and maybe stay in a friendship longer than we should. And
boundaries. I'm getting better. But there's 2 reasons why I believe that I'm not good at boundaries. And reason number 1 is I don't feel like I deserve boundaries.
that's part of the validation part.
I don't feel like I deserve to be a priority in my own life. The second part is I have had negative, horrifically traumatizing experiences when I set boundaries and things that are good for me. And the reaction of the person that you care about, the person that is your friend, or the person that you, even family members, that reaction when you said, this isn't good for me. And again, there's this great big learning curve, right? Because once you're starting to learn how to heal and to set your boundaries, I can say that I honestly don't do it well and gracefully at first. It's kind of like, I'll let you, take advantage. And then it's just like, I'm going to rip the rug out from you and no. And it like, that doesn't really set well with other people.
It's not good. I'll tell you something that happened to me.
Okay.
And I won't use her name because
we changed
I
names
felt
here.
that she was, and maybe still is, and at some level, dear friend. The proximity, timing, and things changed throughout the years, and
Proximity, timing, and change,
and energy changed. Of course, yes, we were separated. She moved away, but the problem was really mine, that I was such a nurturer, such a person that wanted this friend, wanted a friendship, because of our shared history, and I'm loyal, but I was not good at really setting boundaries, and more things kind of piled up and happened, and I was like, what? Things happened like when she came to the state, I was only like a stopping spot for things. Didn't really spend time with me.
Oh, hi, bestie. I am going to be in this area and I need a place to stay.
Or I'm going to drop off something, but we really never had. I mean, she never even told me one time it was my birthday. She was coming up to surprise me. We had a Bangor Heart Society Zoom. It was during the pandemic. I'm running the meeting. All of a sudden, I see her come in to my house, and she lives 5 states away, and it's my birthday. And I go like, I can't get off this Zoom. Left. Oh, sorry, I'm leaving, and would not even stay.
So you said, I'm on a Zoom, I'm on a meeting, I have something I have to do, but instead of her being like, of course, I understand, I just popped in without even telling you, I'll come back when's a good time for you.
Correct.
Do you think she got offended that you were not going to drop everything for her at that moment?
No, it didn't appear that she was offended at all. She was like, sorry, I got to go.
So you weren't a priority.
I was not a priority.
I will stop in if it's convenient, if you're not.
And she had arranged it with my husband, and he had kept it from me too. I was like, I'm running the Zoom. It's not like I'm on the Zoom as a, listener. I'm actually running it. Well, anyhow, that was the first thing, and it hurt me terribly. And I don't remember if I even really saw her the rest of the time. It was,
What part hurt? Like, why was it?
The part that she shows up, but then leaves. She doesn't really want to see me.
So do you think it was showing up out of obligation?
But I don't know. She dropped something off.
But how it felt to you
was like, I would never.
Was that you weren't a valuable piece in her
Correct.
life?
My feelings, and she never ever questioned it or asked or whatever. It just was something that I put in kind of the mental bank account, like, whoa, that's not a good feeling at all. I didn't felt like I didn't have a chance to even say anything to her. And we had shared a lot of past things. Her mom dying, my father dying.
A lot of connecting.
A lot of
like
connecting things. And I'm like, but that was just the beginning of things that had happened. And finally, I just had said, she had said, like, I'm going to be in town. I want to drop some garbage off at your house. I said, no, that's not.
Garbage?
Garbage, right.
Like, I need a place to put my garbage?
Yes, because she had been on the coast of Maine for.
Do you think, though, that she didn't know how to say, hey, I want to see you and hang out with you? Or do you really think she just saw you as something that she used at her convenience?
let me just tell you, her job title is she's a PhD in psychology. So wouldn't you think she would know?
You would think so, but did
Correct.
you communicate? Did you have a
So
communicate this?
I had said no, and she did it anyway.
What?
Yep.
Oh, so now we've crossed a boundary.
Yeah.
So you put up a boundary. You finally said for your own peace and your own, because I think that I'm very similar, and maybe we all are, but like I will perseverate on that and I will start negative talking. It'll be like, and then I'll start moving everything in my life and everything that doesn't make sense for me to meet the needs of somebody else. And so when you say, actually, I'm going to need to set a boundary here, that's one step that you have to be prepared for this pushback. But then for someone who calls himself a friend to step over that boundary,
Right. It was hurtful. Oh my God.
You really need to think at that moment, how much do you actually value me as a person?
Right. And that was the final straw. And because I'm a creative person, what did I do? Because it's part of venting.
Did you take all the trash and make an art piece out of it?
No,
would've.
I made a TikTok.
Okay.
And she saw it.
Okay.
And she was upset.
Okay.
And I talked to her and I apologized and took it down immediately.
Why? Why did you apologize?
Because I should have talked to her first. I should have. I feel
Okay.
like I should have. But for me, it was my creative outlet. Everybody, by the way, should vent because it is a normal way of getting your mental health just out there. Everybody needs to vent.
Did you post this TikTok in order to maliciously harm her or hurt her?
Yes and no. I just wanted people to know that crossing a boundary was not okay.
Okay.
And
So do you
I
feel like...
honestly, I didn't really think she was going to see it because I didn't think she was on.
Because you didn't think she cared
Yeah,
about you.
I didn't think she was on TikTok.
But do you think that you were looking for your own validation through other people? I mean, this
probably,
is, and
I
I'm
mean-
not saying it is. I'm just kind of doing one of these, like, let's retrospectively look back on it. Because I know that for me, sometimes it's almost like I have to say it out loud and have somebody else say, oh, that was a terrible thing for that person to do. For me to start believing that I was worthy of having those boundaries and that I didn't do anything wrong, or I didn't, I was justified in what I was doing.
I definitely should never have done it. And I told her.
Okay.
I said, oh my God, I shouldn't have done that.
Okay.
I was angry, hurt,
Okay.
and
Do you think that's where the line is when you're venting or trying to validate yourself versus, like, if you're angry and hurt and you are posting about somebody?
I didn't post about her. I just said
Well, no, you're about a situation.
a situation.
So
correct.
I really am confused, and I don't mean to be sounding confusing, but I don't understand why it was wrong for you. Like, you're saying it was wrong for you to do, but you're saying I had a boundary, my boundary was crossed. It's not okay to have my boundary crossed, and it's not okay for anybody to have their boundary crossed. Why at that point, like at what point, why did you feel like you shouldn't have done that?
Well, I felt badly. I felt bad because I didn't want to hurt her feeling. I didn't
Okay.
want to be, it wasn't like a retaliation
Okay.
thing. It was, for me, a way to vent, to say people need to respect other people's boundaries, especially if you're a friend.
Is that not the wrong thing to say?
And
that-
is
is that
a
a-
totally good thing
That's
to say.
acceptable, correct?
Correct.
So I'm actually going to like circle around now. I didn't have a specific purpose, but now I do. Like that's how my
Okay.
brain works. Like sometimes I'm like, I have to like get information and then I go, oh, now it's making sense. Let's back up to Mel Robbins. When you're going to post something, when you're going to put something online, when you're going to create a podcast about issues, who is it that you're doing it for? And if you are doing it for somebody else, or like, why does their opinion matter? You took it down because you didn't want her to get hurt. And I understand that and I respect that, especially if you wanted to salvage the friendship. But what you said, the message you were trying to portray was not malicious towards her. It was not calling her out. It wasn't a private entity. It was this is how it feels inside. This is what it does to people. This is a boundary that got crossed, and do better, And so by taking that down, you then turned it around, it sounds like, and made it like you had done something wrong.
Right.
And you still, I think, to this day, think you did something wrong by posting it.
Correct. Because I feel...
Because you hurt her feelings.
And I did it out of anger in a way, but I just... and the thing is I've listened to other scientists, doctors, psychiatrists, social scientists about things like this because it has bothered me. And I have learned so much. Like you were just pointed out, it is totally okay. And people do this a lot today on social media. As long as you are trying to create value for others, because that's what I try to do. Mm-hmm. I'm not,
You had something that I'm actually getting very passionate about this. You had something that was really mattered to you.
It did.
And it really hurt you.
Correct.
And I hear, because I never saw it, but I hear that you were angry, but you were basically presenting to the world, don't do this.
Right.
It hurts people.
Right.
And if you're this person that does that, stop it, because this is how much it hurts me.
Right.
And so I believe there was nothing wrong with that TikTok.
Sweetie.
But I think that you really, because you valued your friendship, you took it. And I think we all do this. I've done it myself. So I even talked to my mother this morning, and I sent her some things that I posted online because she's not online. So I send them to her, and I almost send it to her to keep her informed and involved so that we're connected. But the other piece is I'm looking for her approval. I want her to be like, great job, way to go. So she sends nothing in response. And so I had this conversation with her this morning. So number one, when she said nothing in response, I was like, she doesn't like it. She doesn't like me. She doesn't love me. Here we go. We're going down this rabbit hole of self-negative talk. And I just left it at that. This morning I said, hey, did you get those things I sent you? And she said, yes. And I said, okay, when you don't respond, I think that you're invoking your right to not say anything because you don't have anything nice to say. And she said, no, not at all. I just kind of forget to respond. And so communicating, I think, with friends and not making assumptions is number one thing we're not doing very well.
The thing is about that, which I don't disagree. That's a double negative.
I don't disagree.
I do agree with that you should strive for the optimum communication. Mm-hmm. But when they don't respond to a text, email, whatever, that reveals how they are. Not how they are, who they are.
Or what their priorities are. And our choice is to decide, because I have people in my life that will not respond. And I have done both things. And I think maybe you have too. I've been like, this person, I've been venting. Like, yeah, it's good. They never responded, they didn't do this, they did not on live, but... And then I'm very angry about it. And then I'm very hurt about it because they're not responding. But Mel said to figure out what energy you're going to... When I stopped putting energy in to feeling like I had done something wrong or that I had something else to prove or I had to change things around, I found so much peace because I was like, well, they didn't respond. And that obviously means that whatever I'm asking them to do is not a priority in their life.
Correct.
And I stopped getting upset about it and started being like, okay, well, not everything everybody asked me to do as a priority in my life.
Correct. So you can't necessarily take things so personal. You just have to, that's what's going on. You don't know what's happening that day in their life, but you just move on and don't assume that it's your fault.
Right.
That's one thing I think women do. So in friendships, we have to remember too, aren't tit for tat kind of thing. They're just going to ebb and flow. And sometimes friendships fade so that that person who didn't respect your boundary or didn't respond to you, it's tougher when it's family, for sure. I mean, I just did the same thing with my sister. I've called her a bunch of times, didn't text me back, didn't say she was busy. What? Okay.
Because I think that we don't feel like you and I don't feel like we were that way. Someone texted me and I like right back.
I normally try to do.
Normally, are there times? Sure, but I have friends that will say, "Oh my God, I just saw this message. I'm really sorry. I didn't get notified in this group," and I don't feel the same negativity towards them. I'm like, "Oh, of course. Like I understand," as I do when somebody that I have history of feeling disvalued.
Right.
Or I have history of feeling like a boundary got crossed. Like those, the grace that I have for those people is a little bit shorter.
Right. And you have to let them be distant. Just let them. And then, as Mel says, you let me. So what can we do if some of those friends are gone or distant? And Mel has a really, really effective, she moved to Vermont after being in a Boston suburb and very, in the city type of thing. She moved to Vermont and she gives this story, which is not unlike Mainer's. Some of us have acreage that you don't necessarily have to see a whole bunch of people every single solitary day.
The older I get, Teddy, the more I want lots of acreage and no people.
Yeah. But what do you do if you are feeling lonely? So what do you do? And this is one thing I would challenge all of you watchers. And I would love to hear how it turns out. Go to a coffee shop, say something that you like frequently, and talk to people. Say hi. Hi, I'm Teddi. Even to the barista and I'll give you an example. There is a new coffee place in Orono on Mill Street called the Golden Bean. And honest to God,
we're going to need some merch so we can wear that.
Yeah, well, right. And I didn't even know it existed. We always go to a couple other places in Orono. I sort of was slipping on the ice and looked and said, "Hey, what is this?" And it had been there since last summer. But we went in. I talked to luckily there was nobody else around that one day. Talked to the owner, talked to the barista. Turns out she was a UMaine ice hockey player, a senior. She signed a little puck for my niece.
Teddy, not everyone's like you, though. Teddy here is just like, "Hi, I'm Teddy. Let's be friends." Because you just have that. But some people are very
this
shy.
is what they're saying. Don't wait a whole year and you go into a place and you see, say, a couple who's always in there when you are. But this is when, if you're lonely, you must speak up. I encourage you. Let me take action. Let me do something. And I'm asking everybody, if you are looking for friends, go to wherever you are, a place you're frequent. And maybe that is online. Join the, coaches' wives group, for example. I mean, Nikki, how do we meet? Really?
Is it the story that we tell each other so that we know we're not spammers, or is it the true story?
No, No, but I mean through an organization.
So it was an organization, and it was, so you were the president of the Bangor Art Society. I was trying to find an outlet. I just was looking for a place to feel like I could get some support for being an artist and learn some new things. I do believe that I sat in the back of the room for quite a few meetings, because it was so hard for me to make that step. I don't see, like, and then a lot of the older members just like, hi, I'm this person, who are you? And you're just like, well, I didn't want you to see me. I just wanted to be here. But the more that I went, the more I just felt welcomed. And, Teddi, I think it was a couple years though before, I don't know how we were like.
Well, I met Dustin because he was always dropping off.
Yeah, so you met my husband more than you ever saw me in the first couple of Bangor Art Society rounds, because he was always dropping off my paintings.
Right.
He's my butt.
Gopher.
Yeah, somehow we just kind of then morphed into like a more committed and more personal relationship.
Well, we clicked. Mm-hmm. And if you see somebody that you think is cool, talk to them.
Yeah.
Mel talks about how her daughters, they moved to the center. She's feeling lonely. She has no friends. She saw her old friends go on a cruise or whatever they did. And she was like, ah. And so her adult daughters are walking down around the block or whatever, where she lives. And Mel's going like, yeah, I met that lady at something. I thought she was cool. And her daughters made her. She goes, Mom, you're going up that driveway right now and knocking on the door and saying hello. And she's like, well, I don't dare to. But
why do you think people don't?
I don't know. They think they might get shot. I don't know.
Okay. That would be fair, but
yeah,
I think people don't make the first step. And this is opinion. I'm sure there's scientific facts somewhere. But they don't make the first step because it's a very vulnerable place to be. Because what if they reject you? What if, and especially people that have history of trauma, what if I make the move and I want to be friends and they don't, or they don't like me?
And here's the thing that Mel brings out is that people are understanding to vulnerability. And if you just are honest and say, hey, she did go to the door. The lady wasn't home. Her husband was there. They had a couple of dogs. So the three of them.
I thought you were going to say they had a couple of drinks. I'm like, let's not do that.
No.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
No, they had dogs. And so that was a connecting thing.
Don't have drinks with your new friend's husband. That's
well.
weird. We're going down a wrong path now, Teddi.
Right.
But so they had dogs, but they had something that they could connect
and he was, oh, come on in. And of course she was with her kids, and they connected, and it got the woman called her, let's take a walk later, and that's what sometimes you have to put yourself out there if you're lonely. I'm not saying it's easy. I am not saying it's, not scary. It certainly is. And yesterday, I want to say, it was yesterday. A young man came to our door. I'll just be very brief. And not many people knock on people's doors, right? And he was talking about electric next amp and that kind of thing. No, scammer.
Anybody who walks in my door with a clipboard is a scammer.
They could be somebody who's trying to.
So if you want to be my friend, don't show up at my door with a clipboard, because I'm not opening the door and I'm going to tell you to go away.
But if you have dogs and they're barking, then they'll probably be safe.
Sorry about that.
So, but the thing is you've got to be. Obviously pay attention to your surroundings. I'm always big about that.
Yeah.
And take the chance. So everyone, please go say hello. When you're passing somebody on the street or at the store, say hello, be kind, give compliments. And that is a sure way to make new friends.
Or at least connections.
Connections, and then give it a year. And then I know we have to wrap up.
Yeah,
So.
but I would say my takeaway, and I'll say, like, check yourself, check your own energy and how you're presenting yourself or wanting to be involved in your own self-confidence. Because I did ask a group of friends at one time, at work friends, and I said, why don't you invite me? Like, I see you doing all this after work stuff. I see you always doing this. And I did say, not angrily, but I said, why don't you invite me? And the person said, because you work so much and have so many different jobs and you have your kids and you're never really available. So we don't know when you're going to be available. So I, at that point, had to say, I'm available on these days. I had to make myself available in order to be involved in a group of friends. So,
and if you have the courage to ask somebody, be prepared. You might not like the answer.
Yeah, she could have said, because we hate you and we think that you're a controlling, person. But it was really good and honest, and it really made me check myself. Like, oh, I'm not invited to all these things because I'm not available. So
it's a two-way street, friendship is. And we are going to discuss this in detail next week, which is our last discussion on Mel Robbins' Let Them book. And hopefully it will help you get friends, come out of your shell, and understand, because mental health is important. And mental health doesn't just mean you've got some huge disorder. Everybody has mental health, and we need to protect it and take care of ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, mental health is health.
Right.
It's mental health disorders is the thing.
Something else.
That is,
and we thank you for watching.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to
subscribe.
Soubahn, Phanthay.
Subscribe to our channel. We're all of our subscribers at the end of this book will be giving away the Let Them Theory book by Mel Robbins. Thank you to our sponsor, Selfie-Space.
Right. And remember that these opinions, we are not able to diagnose or treat any medical condition or disease. This is our opinions, and the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Most of them. So,
thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. Please follow us on YouTube, TeddiTalks.
Don't forget to subscribe. You can also find Teddi-Jann at msha.ke/Teddi.Jann. Those are two N's, Jann. And if you want to follow my journey with the Wellness Lounge, you can do so at Nwellnesslounge.com, and of course all of our social media channels. So as a disclaimer, as always, we want you to know that all episodes and personal stories are our beliefs, our opinions, and they're not to be substituted for advice from a professional provider. Stories and names sometimes might be changed to protect the other side. And remember, it's okay to take care of yourself and celebrate you no matter what age.
This is true, and we are very grateful and appreciative of Selfie-Space located in Brewer, Maine.
Check them out.